On episode 404 of Nintendo Switchcraft, you've got my initial thoughts on Link's Awakening. Luigi's Mansion is getting DLC, and it's not even out yet. And we've got a whole bunch of feedback from you. Those stories and more on this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft.
Hi, this is Joshua from New Brockton, Alabama, and you're listening to Nintendo Switchcraft.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Switchcraft. It is brought to you live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Saturdays. You can tune in live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is made possible by patrons like Joe E. Get Switchcraft and my other content ad-free for as little as $1 by joining us over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And you can leave a voicemail like you heard at the beginning of the show by heading from any device to runjumpstomp.com/voicemail, and I may even play it on the show. We are doing yet another giveaway, but first, let's announce our most recent winner. Every Saturday in September, we are giving away eShop gift cards to the community, and this week's winner was my very good friend Richard. He's also a supporter and just a fantastic all-around guy. So if you want, you can also join the next giveaway, which is happening next Saturday, by joining us. And for more information on how to do that, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/giveaway. And again, thank you to Richard for the support and congratulations on your eShop gift card. When I sent him the code for it, he said, I think I'm going to give this to my son. So what an awesome dad. All right, we've got a lot to cover today. Joel Mead in chat is asking, is it Joe E or Joey? It's Joe E. There you go. So now you know, and knowing's half the battle. I've got a lot to cover today, and first I want to talk about this. For those of you who are listening to the show, I am holding up a Nintendo Switch Lite. It is still in the box. It has not yet been opened, and you might be wondering, Bill, why have you not opened it yet? And it's because it's not mine. This is for my wife. It is her birthday coming up on the 29th, and she asked for a Nintendo Switch Lite. So that's what she's going to get. And I will be able to post my impressions of it sometime after her birthday. It's not going to be anytime soon. But that's what she wanted, and I figured, if that's what she wants, that's what she gets. I was really surprised when she asked for it, but I think it being adorable is a big part of it. And there's also a really big library of fantastic games that I think she's going to really, really enjoy. So there you go. That's for her. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell her. It's a secret. All right. Let's talk about a game that is out finally. And God, I did not have an episode yesterday because I was feeling really sick, and it made me sad because I wanted to talk about this game right here, which is Link's Awakening. It's really good. It's really good. The graphics are just beautiful. That tilt shift to it is gorgeous. The UI is very minimalistic, and honestly, there's very little about this game that I don't like. Now, I have got to point out to everybody that this particular game has got some serious frame rate issues. Like the frame rate for this game is pretty atrocious, without a doubt. It's bad. It's not stable at all. And while I won't say that that's okay, I don't think that that's going to detract from my enjoyment of it. I do think that at some point in the future, Nintendo needs to patch this game and do something to fix the frame rate. I don't know if they've already done everything that they can. It's very possible that they've already done everything that they can, but the frame rate is really bad, and you notice it a lot. And I have to say this. I am not somebody who notices these kind of things. They just don't jump out at me. I don't notice when something is 30 frames per second versus 60 frames per second. The only time I notice is when games don't have a stable frames per second, and this has a very unstable frames per second, and it's jarring and surprising every time that it happens. I'm like, whoa, that was really weird. Now, I don't know what the cause is. Perhaps it's because of those cool tilt shift effects that they've got going on. Um, and maybe that's the case, maybe it's not. But what I would love for Nintendo to do is to do a patch for the game where I can go into the options, and in the options, give me the ability to favor frame rate over graphics style, and maybe that would take out some of the processing, like the tilt shift effect and that kind of thing. But overall, my thoughts on the game so far are, holy cow, it's really fun to go back and play a traditional style Zelda. And this is somebody who's never played Link's Awakening before. I've played like the intro to it on the BitBoy, but I've not really spent much time in that game at all. I've just played the intro, and it's cool, but I felt like if I had played this game when it came out instead of on in emulation, if I had played it when it came out, I would have enjoyed that so much more. Um, but knowing what I know about modern game design and the limitations of the Game Boy at the time, is a very frustrating game to play. The text is massive. You don't have enough buttons to do everything the way that you want to do. And they fixed all that stuff with bringing it to the Switch. So I'm having a blast with it. I'm already past the second dungeon, and if you want to see like my first impressions of it, I did like the first 20 minutes of it are on my YouTube channel, just me running around and I don't know, just looking at stuff and getting my sword and going around and I think maybe the first dungeon. I can't remember how far I got in that first 20 minutes, but it's really fun. It's a fun game, and if that's all you could say about it, that would certainly be enough. I know that there's people out there who are going to say it's not worth $60 because Nintendo didn't do enough to change it. And to those people, I disagree, but guess what? You just don't have to buy it. That's fine. I know that there's some people who think that every game that's made needs to be specifically for them and everybody else be damned. But I never played Link's Awakening, so I am perfectly happy picking it up on the Nintendo Switch and playing it for the first time there. And I'm having a very fun time with it. And do I think it's worth $60? I would say yes, but I would also preface that with saying something that I've said a million times before. I don't like deciding for other people a game's worth. To one person, $60 is a mountain of money that they could never be able to spend on a video game. And I remember when I was younger and I was in that situation and I just could not afford to spend that kind of money on a game, especially a game which is from what I've heard, a relatively short experience. But then there's other people who, for they'll spend $60 on they'll spend $60 on a pair of socks. So saying whether or not something is worth $60, I think it's worth $60, but that's for me, and everybody else has to make that decision on their own. So those are my initial thoughts on Link's Awakening. I'm very curious what everybody else thinks. By the way, we are live over on twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. And if you want to have your voice heard, I am sitting in the call-in channel of my Discord, and you can hop in the green room. And if it's a name that I recognize as somebody who's there a lot, I may pull you in, and you can tell me your thoughts on the Nintendo news of the week. This is something I want to do a lot more often on the Saturday episodes, is bring in other voices and hear what they have to say. I'm going to talk, before I get to the Untitled Goose game, which I want to talk about. I'm kind of all over the place here. I want to talk about my the purchase here of the Nintendo Switch Lite, which I'm saying quiet because I don't want her to know that she's getting it. But Spawn Wave, which if you don't watch Spawn Wave stuff, you should absolutely check his stuff out. If for no other reason than this guy will buy hardware and rip it apart just so that we can see what's inside. And there's a thing that a lot of people have been wondering about with the Switch Lite. And that thing is, what are the joysticks going to be like? Because we all know that the Nintendo Switch had this issue with the joysticks, that joystick drift issue, and it became enough of an issue that there was a class action lawsuit. Nintendo responded to that class action lawsuit. They might say that this was their plan all along, was to do this, but it feels like that's how they responded to the class action lawsuit, was by saying, okay, we will replace Joy-Cons that are having the drift issue. Warranty be damned. And I think that's the right move, without a doubt. But the issue with that is, now I can take off my Joy-Con and I can mail it to Nintendo, and they can either fix it or send me back a new one, which is awesome. But if you have a Nintendo Switch Lite, and this is what a lot of people were worrying about when that was announced, these Joy-Cons are very much attached. They don't come off. And so that means you have to send in your whole console if there's a problem with your joystick, which is less than optimal. I'll be diplomatic and I'll say that is less than optimal. And Spawn Wave, of course, did exactly what Spawn Wave does. And again, go to his YouTube channel and check it out. There's a link to it in the show notes at runjumpstomp.com. This is episode 404. And he took it apart, and he's noting, yep, they're the same analog sticks as before. Now, they're also the same analog sticks that are in the Nintendo Switch V2, which I'm holding in my hand. This is because I ended up picking up a V2 for myself and a V2 for my son because GameStop had that cool trade-in deal. It's the same sticks that we have in here. Now, we don't yet know if these will have the drifting problem. Only time will tell. We do not know if the Nintendo Switch Lite is going to have the drifting problem yet. Only time will tell. I'm hopeful that even though Spawn Wave is seeing them and saying, oh, this is the same exact one as before, perhaps there's something different that is just not obvious. Maybe the material is slightly softer, so it's less likely to scrape up the inside. Whatever it is that's causing the joystick drift, hopefully Nintendo has re-engineered it enough so that that's not going to be an issue. That would be really awesome. Fingers crossed. Because I would hate to have to I would hate it if somebody bought a Nintendo Switch Lite and they're playing their game and they get the drift and now they have to send it off to Nintendo and wait for Nintendo to send it back. Now, I will say this. I have sent Joy-Cons to Nintendo to get fixed. Back when the Switch first launched, they had an issue where if you wrapped your hand around the Joy-Con, because they just didn't make the antenna long enough. If you wrapped your hand around the Joy-Con while you were playing, sometimes it would lose its connection to the Switch. This is when it was, in wireless mode. And because of that, Nintendo said, oh, okay, well, we'll replace those or we'll fix those. And I sent mine off and got my new Joy-Con or the fixed Joy-Con. I couldn't tell the difference. I got that back in just a couple of days, which was insanely fast. And Nintendo was awesome on the phone, and it was just really good customer service experience. So hopefully that will be what happens if we do end up with the same issues on the Switch Lite or the Switch V2 for that matter. But only time will tell. And it's a little disheartening that Spawnwave found that these are the same exact analog sticks. I think that's more than a little disappointing. Let's take a quick break. We'll hear from a sponsor, and when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some purchases that I have made, and then maybe some Untitled Goose Game discussion. Be right back.
Double Dragon 2, The Revenge for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
All right, we are back. Very, very big thank you to our sponsors for helping support the show and making it possible for me to continue doing this. If you don't like hearing the ads from our sponsors, again, join us on the Patreon, patreon.com/runjumpstomp. And for as little as $1, you can never hear another ad again, except for those little video game ads that are from, retro games, because I just think those are great. And I'm never going to not add those into the show. And I know I just did a double negative, and I don't care. I don't care. All right. You can pre order Luigi's Mansion, which I want to talk about here in just a second. And I did. I had one of the. If you remember, Nintendo had this cool program where you could buy vouchers through the Nintendo Switch Online service. And those vouchers cost $100 for 2 vouchers. And then you could use those vouchers on certain $60 games, essentially saving you $10 per game. Well, I did this a couple of times, and I just used my last voucher to buy Luigi's Mansion 3, which is coming out on October 31st. So in 1 month and 10 days, I'm very excited for that game. It looks fantastic, and I'm going to talk more about Luigi's Mansion in a second, but I think you get double coins for pre-ordering that game. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, whenever you buy a game on the eShop, or you buy a game, not hardware game. What's the word a physical copy of a game, and you put it in your Switch, you can earn gold coins for that. And then each gold coin is essentially worth a penny, and then you could take those gold coins, those pennies, and put them towards buying something. Well, that's what I ended up doing, because I had enough gold coins that I was able to pick up, and I have not yet played it because, as I said, I bought this yesterday, and I was feeling very under the weather, so I hardly played anything yesterday. I played a little tiny bit of Link's Awakening, enough to get past the first dungeon. That's all that I played yesterday, and I slept most of the rest of the time. But I bought Castle Crashers yesterday, and I only paid $5 for it because I had enough gold coins from buying Link's Awakening and buying Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that. So that's something that I want you to make sure that you check. Go grab your Switch and see how many gold coins you have, because you might be able to pick up some games pretty cheap. Anyway, I picked up Castle Crashers. I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to sit down and play it. It's funny, my son came up and he asked me about that game, and I never told him about it. So it's going to be interesting like right now, I know that Batman is kind of taking over Fortnite. Like, Batman is completely taking over Fortnite right now. And so him and his friends have been down there trying their best to unlock everything, even though I won't let them spend any money. But they've been trying to earn the currency through playing the Save the World mode and stuff like that, so that they can unlock this Batman stuff. So once he's had enough of that nonsense, I'm going to say, hey, I've got Castle Crashers. Do you want to sit down and play with me? And I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And I think that if he enjoys it, maybe I'll end up picking up a copy for him too, so that he can play it on his Switch. Anyway, I ended up picking that up for $5 because of my gold coins. And then I watched some footage about Untitled Goose Game. Like, I don't know. I think it was like the first level or something. And I think I might be sold on that. This game just feels really funny and charming, where you're a goose going around trying to annoy people. And when I first saw it in one of the Indie World showcases or whatever, I just kind of wrote it off as, oh, look at that, it's kind of neat, and I ignored it. But the more that I look into Untitled Goose Game, the more interesting it seems to me, where you are just this annoying goose who's also at the same time lovable. Like, you can push a button and honk and wave your wings around. I just love that, and I think that I may end up picking this up. I'm not going to pick it up right away. I know that right now it's on sale for $5 off. Normally it's $19.99, and right now it's on sale for $14.99. And I think that I'm going to buy it anyway eventually, so I should just pick it up. But I've got Link's Awakening to play. I've got Castle Crashers to play. let me grab my Switch actually, because I also have other games that have been sent to me. I got this copy of 80 Days, which is based on the Jules Verne Around the World in 80 Days novel. I can't say anything about it because I'm under NDA, but I've got that to play. I've got a review copy for Petoon's Party, which I don't know anything about, but I remember seeing like I think I remember it being part of Indie World whatever. And plus I've got Link's Awakening, I've got Castle Crashers. In what day is today's the 21st? In 6 days we're going to be playing oh gosh, what is it? Dragon Quest 11S. I haven't bought it yet. I might end up buying it. I don't know. We've got that coming. There's just too much to play right now. So Untitled Goose Game is just going to have to sit on the shelf, and I'm definitely going to have to pick it up at some point though, because it just looks fun. It also looks like a fun game to stream. All right. So thank you to Luigi's Mansion and getting the bonus gold coins so that I could buy it. Apparently the default is you get 5. Thank you for TF Wagner in chat for saying you get 5% in gold coins for every digital purchase. I guess Luigi's Mansion was giving you double that, so I was getting 10%, which is actually pretty good. Like, that's a really good deal. So Luigi's Mansion gave me that bonus for the gold coins, and so that's why I ended up picking up Castle Crashers, which I can't wait to play. But speaking of Luigi's Mansion, I want to talk about that for just a second. Luigi's Mansion is getting DLC. This is from the official website. It says paid DLC will come to Luigi's Mansion 3 in the future, adding new content to the Scarescraper and Scream Park multiplayer modes. So this is only multiplayer, and there's a couple of different ways to look at this. I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. I know I'm already at about 22 minutes for the show, so I'm going to try not to go for too long. Son of a gun, man. I've talked for way too long because I still have a mountain of feedback. All right, you know what? I'm not going to play too much devil's advocate. This is great. There's people out there who are like, wait, we're not going to get any single-player DLC? Why would you want that? Why would you want Nintendo to slice up the game and sell it to you piecemeal after you buy it for $60? I don't understand that. Maybe next year that for them to announce some DLC for Luigi's Mansion 3 for single player, I'd be okay with that. But I certainly don't want them announcing it ahead of time. As far as multiplayer DLC, I am not interested in it. I think that there's going to be very few people that actually end up picking this up. Not the game itself, but the multiplayer DLC. And since it is multiplayer DLC, like, that's going to be really hard to find other people to play with. It's just going to be something that fragments the player base. So while I'm happy that we're not getting single player DLC for this, at least right now, I'm not happy that this multiplayer deal, like, I just think that the multiplayer stuff should just come out for free, because otherwise it's just going to split the player base, as there'll be some people who have it and those that won't, and that's going to make it harder for you, the player, to find a game. All right, let's lightning around these last two stories, and then I'm going to get to feedback as much as I can. Final Fantasy 7 and 8 are coming to physical copies in Asia. This comes to us from a Facebook post, of all places. Square Enix Asia says, for Asia, Final Fantasy 7 and 8 remastered are coming to Switch in one physical package, releasing in 2019. We don't know anything about that. I am nervous that this means that they're going to, I mean, I'm not going to buy it because I'm just not going to buy this, the physical copy. I don't care about physical copies nearly as much as other people do. But I wonder, will both games actually be on the cartridge, or will it be like one game on the cartridge and the other game you have to download? That just seems like something that Square would do. It wouldn't surprise me. And then finally, Mr. Sakurai, Masahiro Sakurai, who is in charge of Smash Brothers, is going to join a Dragon Quest XI-S live stream. This comes to us from Gematsu, and it's a 4-hour live stream that is launching on the day of the release, September 26th at 2100 hours JST, that's Japan Standard Time, and it goes till September 27th at 1 a.m. Japanese Standard Time. So if you want to watch that, it's probably going to be in Japanese. So unless you speak Japanese, it won't be super useful to you, but I wanted to let people know about it. All right, we've got a whole bunch of feedback, and I only have 5 minutes to get to it, so let's go fast. JMarks585 tweeted at me. They said, Bill, what are your thoughts on Fire Emblem Three Houses text size? Just bought a Switch Lite, and I'm getting massive eye strain. I can't imagine the OG is much better. Do you think we'll get a patch? I am not hopeful that we will get a patch. I don't think it's going to happen. However, it absolutely should. This has been something that people have been complaining about on the Switch for a long time now. And there's a lot of games where you can't read stuff because it's just too small. And Nintendo needs to do something about that. I do wonder if this has something to do with the fact that they're a Japanese company and maybe the Japanese characters are much easier to read at that small font size. I have no idea. But I do know that there's a lot of people who have complained about it. I have not played on a Nintendo Switch Lite, so I can't answer that. I have played Fire Emblem Three Houses on my OG Switch and my V2 Switch, and I didn't really have any problems myself. But then again, I also don't have any trouble seeing things up close. I have trouble seeing things far away. So that's just me. I got a whole bunch of emails. Thank you very much, JMarks, by the way, for sending me that message. If you want to tweet at me, I'm at RunJumpStomp on Twitter. I got an email from, my nose is very itchy, from Bestin707 in Northern California. They said, hello, Bill. I've been following you for some time now. Love your content and your effort. Thanks to making a difference to the Nintendo community. My question for you is, a while back, you had the creator for Ding Dong XL on your podcast. By the way, awesome game. Check it out. Super cheap, super fun. Definitely pick that one up. I think it's like less than $1 for that. It's great. Those coins that I was talking about, that's a perfect way to spend them. He had mentioned that there was an Easter egg of some type of secret in the game, and he didn't say, and you didn't pry. But since the game has been out for a while, has that secret ever been revealed? Respect to everything you do. No. Well, I don't know, because I am not somebody who plays games for really extended period of times. I always have the next game coming towards me, and I haven't really played Ding Dong XL very much lately. I have no idea if that secret is unveiled, so I'm putting this out to the community. If there's anybody out there who knows the answer to that question, feel free to write in and let me know. You can write in runjumpstomp@gmail.com. Speaking of email, I got an email from James. They said, maybe you've seen this, but it's a deep Kotaku article about eShop sales that you should read. And I got to say, we've actually talked about this before. I talked about this a while back, well before this article came out. But basically, this article is talking about the practice that some developers, some publishers are doing to get their game noticed in the sea of games that is the Nintendo Switch eShop, is they will put it on sale for incredibly low prices, and then a bunch of people will buy it, which will put it on the bestseller list, and then they switch the price back over. We've talked about that in the past, so make sure you go back and check out older episodes about that. And I'm still kind of half and half about how I feel about this practice. I don't know if I think it's a good practice or a bad practice. I suppose I would say that it depends on the game. So if it's a crappy game, then I think that they're crappy for doing it. And if it's a great game, then I think that they're awesome for doing it. And I know that that's hypocritical, I guess. But I can't control the way I feel about it. And so I guess I'm okay being hypocritical this time. You guys can let me know what you think. We've got one more email, and I'm going to get this out of here quick. I got an email from Kaylee. Kaylee says, hey, Bill, a word of warning for international folks like me. I have multiple accounts on my Switch, all of which are registered on different eShops in different regions. I do that too. I buy games based on price, language, availability, and release date, but to play them all, I only ever use my main Japanese account. It has both Nintendo Switch Online as well as all of my save data. I knew about the limitations of having multiple Switches, including the hassles around the save data, but I thought that since I'm the only one playing it, I would be fine, especially since my old Switch was to remain docked and connected to the internet as a secondary device. I was reading the procedure on how to register my new Switch Lite as my primary console when it hit me. Digital games can only be played on the account that they were purchased with, meaning that I would be locked out of my save data on my main account for any digital games not purchased on the Japanese eShop. Needless to say, this significantly reduces my desire to own a second Switch, only being able to play a percentage of the games I have bought and paid for, or be forced to juggle multiple accounts and friends lists and pay for Nintendo Switch Online in multiple regions is just not workable for me. Not to mention that the Switch Lite screen has a noticeably warmer tint, which did not appeal to me. So less than half an hour after bringing it home, I decided to sell my Switch Lite. Alas, Japanese stores don't really accept returns. That is super lame, Japan. Fix that. So I'm going to take a hit, but what can you do? I hope this helps someone else out there like me. That totally sucks, Kaylee, and I wish that Nintendo had a better solution for the people who are their biggest fans, clearly. But thank you, and hopefully that word of warning helps somebody else out there to avoid the same problem that you are running into. And thank you to Kaylee, James, and Beston for the emails, and thanks to J Marks for the tweets. If you want to become a part of the community, join us over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. You can also watch the show live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This show is part of the giant-sized Team Up Network. For more information, check out gstu.net. If you're looking for ways to support the show, go to runjumpstomp.com/thank you. And for more content like this, check out runjumpstomp.com/shows. The music that you are hearing right now is Corneria Star Fox remix by Noteblock. Thank you all for hanging out with me and making it awesome and fun for me to do this show. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.